Let me do Stifler first. Okay, ask everyone to rate their looks on a scale of 1 to 10, starting with you. Go ahead.
I'd say like a 6.5 or a 7.
We're rating our own looks?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh. 7?
I'll go with like a 6.5 to a 7. Like, I can do better than right now.
I'd say a useful 4.5.
10.
This is hard because like I think these girls are 10, so it's like hard for me to like say like I wanted to say like a 6-7, but they said 6-7, so
So what do you?
like a 6-7.
Okay.
My family would say I'm a 10, but I'm probably a 5.
I think I'm like a 6. I could be a 7 if I lost some weight, lose the braces.
Okay, I give myself a 5. Andrew, what about you?
4.
4. All right. There you have it. So we do have 110 at the table. 10 out of 10.
I'm not the only 10 though. I will say. I'm not the only 10 though. I will say that.
What do you mean? You think the...
Like, I definitely see other 10s at the table.
Which ones?
Well, honestly, everyone. But like, if I'm gonna say some 10s that like really like pop, like you two, gorgeous.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
10 is like perfect.
Yeah. Like I drop
like no flaws like whatsoever.
well, not necessarily no flaws, but like you're show stopping. That's what I think a 10 is. Like everybody has flaws, no matter what.
Yeah,
you know?
you're well, and saying everyone has some sort of flaws. Wouldn't that be that no one is a 10 because no one's perfect?
Exactly, but we're going off a 1 to 10 scale, just hypothetically, where people are 10s. You know.
How long have you been single? 1.5 years. Is it like by choice or just like what's going on there?
Yeah, I was actually like really contemplating getting in a relationship with that other person that I was seeing. But ultimately I just decided that I'm just not in the right place to be getting in a relationship. Like, I'm about to graduate, about to move down to San Diego.
Is there anything about you that you would change physically?
Physically, yeah.
Like what?
I hate my wrists. My wrists are so little.
You'd change your wrists?
Yeah, I want thicker wrists, guys.
Well, how tall are you?
I'm 5'4".
Oh, you're 5'4". Okay. But would you say you're like more on the petite side?
Yeah, I am.
Well, isn't that just proportional to your general size?
I mean, slightly, but I want thicker wrists. I don't know.
Why do you want bigger wrists?
I don't know. I feel like everyone else at the table has like good wrists.
Is that like the first thing you look at?
No, you're beautiful, girl. You're beautiful.
You get all.
You're so
Big tiny wrists.
Yeah, you're good.
Your wrists are fucking terrible.
No, like it's literally so hard to find bracelets.
What the fuck? Okay, so but you just be like eyeballing people's wrists. Like, what about mine?
Yeah, good wrists.
Good wrists. I got small wrists. I'm in the same boat.
Oh, really? You're also insecure about your wrists?
Oh yeah. I got gamer hands. It's weird because my dad, he's got like big, strong, meaty man hands, and I got these like dainty piano finger hands. It kind of sucks.
No, but women actually usually like little dainty hands.
What the?
I've heard.
I like masculine.
I've had no complaints. I've had no complaints. But just not even from like a dating perspective. I would just in general prefer to have big, strong man hands. Bro, you guys see me, you guys probably haven't seen this, but I struggle to open champagne bottles. There, I said it. It was a struggle actually, I'm 2 out of 3, right, Nick? In recent history. Yeah. I was able to, we do a champagne pop set. Why? She's squirming. I struggled to open one of the champagne bottles. Gerald, Dane, I don't know if you're still watching, he popped 2, and I struggled on one of them. So anyways, okay, so you would change your wrists. Okay. So you're a 10?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does anybody have to disagree, or why the hesitation?
I think the fact that she thinks she's a 10 would make her one. Like, she's confident and she likes the way that she is. There's
She
nothing.
hates her wrists.
Well,
That brings you down to a 9 at least.
like
If it
I.
makes her a 10 just because she thinks she's a 10, then does it make me an attack helicopter because I think I'm an attack helicopter?
Oh my God.
Well, I'm just saying that it doesn't really, like, people can tell her what they think she is, but if she's thinking that she's a 10, like, and she still has insecurities, people who, it depends on if you quantify 10 out of 10 as flawless. People who are really pretty can still, or really attractive, can still have flaws
You can have
Yeah.
flaws.
So why'd you rate yourself a 7?
because I don't think that I'm perfect
Okay, so then you would consider the 10 rating to be perfection.
for myself.
You don't, well, I mean, but who are you comparing your self rating to? That's not something you would come up with arbitrarily, right? You would have to basically observe the world around you, and then you would be comparing yourself to other human beings, right?
Yeah,
So
like,
if that's true, then if your self rating is a 7, then you're saying when I compare myself objectively to other women, clearly there's women who I think are much prettier than I am who I would put in that 8, 9, or 10 scale, right? Is she
Yeah.
one of them?
I think that she's beautiful.
Yeah, I know, but that's not what I asked you, though.
Are you asking me to rate my female peers?
No. I mean, but that's how you get your self rating is because you're looking at your female peers and you're saying that some of them are prettier than you, right?
Yeah, I was thinking more like the standard, like my perceived standard of like female beauty.
Yeah, right. Your perceived standard of female beauty puts you at a 7. So would you say that the woman who puts herself at a 10 has a higher or lower standard than that? Because clearly you can compare yourself to other women so that you can come up with the standard, right?
I don't really know what you're saying. I just think the whole point is like that
I
everybody
think you know, I
everybody
think
can
you
come
do
up
know
with
what
their
I'm
own
saying.
standard.
I'm saying, how do you know if you're a 7 absent you comparing yourself to other women? You wouldn't know that, right?
Sure, like if I had never seen a woman before and you asked me to rate how beautiful I thought I
Yeah.
was, I don't know because
Yeah, there's no way for you to compare
There's no
it to
way.
anything, so-
the whole
so
point
that's
of a
how
rating
you're-
scale is that it's supposed to be comparative. Sure.
Right, yeah, exactly. So if you're comparing yourself to the woman who considers herself a 10, right, are you saying that she's a 10 or not?
I just think that I don't see the point in questioning her rating of herself.
Yeah, I know. I'm not asking you if she should question her rating of herself. I'm saying that if you're objective, and clearly you're looking at this as an objective metric, then do you agree with that self-assessment or disagree with that self-assessment? That's what I'm asking.
I'm not really sure.
Okay.
I got a question. Do you think you'll be better looking in 10 years as compared to how you look now? So you're 21. Will you be better looking at 31 or how you look now at 21?
Yeah, at 31, I would assume I'd be better looking.
You'll be better looking.
Yeah.
Well, how can you possibly be a 10 now if you'll be better looking in 10 years?
Well, that's like Miss USA, for example. Like you asked, like I'm not comparing myself to her at all. Not saying my beauty's to that point, right?
Right.
But that's like saying, oh, she was beautiful at 21. At 31, she can't be just as beautiful. Well, she can. Or would you disagree that a model couldn't do that? I'm not comparing myself to such models.
Let me change the question. All else being equal, do you think you'll be more physically attractive in 10 years?
Yes, just because there's certain things that I do want to alter about myself that I think that would make me a little bit more
Okay,
attractive.
such as?
For example, I want to be like a lot more toned. Like I want like really toned abs,
Okay.
back, all that. So I feel like that would make me more attractive. But that doesn't
Assuming
take
you
away
had
from what I deem myself as.
Assuming
right
you had that today, and then assuming you had that in 10 years, would you be more attractive today or in 10 years?
now. I would say today, just because your skin will probably deteriorate a little bit, like your
Okay.
elasticity and all that.
Okay. So you think by virtue of you working out over the course of the next 10 years, you will be more attractive than you are now, given the fact that you currently aren't as toned as you would like currently?
Yeah, because I would also, like, after I'm done with college, I'm drinking less, smoking less. You know, your skin looks better, body looks better, you look healthier.
So you plan to stop drinking and smoking, and I don't know if there's drug use.
No drug use,
Okay.
but not necessarily stopping drinking. I just don't want to be involved with that whole, like, drinking lifestyle.
Okay. What about 20 years time?
20 years time, I'd view myself as less attractive compared to 21, but I would hope to view myself as more beautiful, though. Like, I'd find myself more beauty. Like, I'd find more beauty within myself is what I'm trying to say.
Okay. I'll actually open up to the whole panel. Do you think you'll be more physically attractive in 10 years? All else being equal. Will you be more attractive in 10 years as compared to how you are now? Starting with you.
I'd be 29. Maybe, yeah.
You'll be more physically attractive in 10 years. All else being equal. So this isn't like, okay, well, not saying for you, but like, let's say a woman was obese at 19, and then she's making the comparison, well, if I'm a fitness model at 29, then yes, I would be more attractive at 29. It's assuming, you're doing sort of all the things if you possessed all the traits, so you're in reasonable physical shape, reasonable physical shape. Some people will argue, well, in 10 years' time, I'll know how to do my makeup better. In 10 years' time, I'll know how to dress better. Those sorts of things. So assuming you knew all of those things to now, or your skills in makeup or dress stayed the same.
Right.
Still 10 years later?
Yeah, I think so.
What about you? So 32 versus 22?
I think that, like, you're your hottest in your 20s. So, like, on a physical basis. So I would say physically, I would be less attractive in 10 years. But like you said, I think there's more time for you to work on yourself physically or mentally. And so in that sense, maybe like my value as a whole person would go up. But in terms of like my physical value, I think my physical looks, maybe it would go down a little bit.
I think I'll go with like looking better in 10 years. I think there's always like room of improvement either way in how I think of myself. So maybe in 10 years I would
You'd look better.
Maybe look better, but just like not even care, just feel better no matter how I look. Like my mindset will change, and that probably will make me think that I look better than I do now.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be more physically attractive in 10 years, but I do think I'll be more wise, more able to take on challenges.
Not really the question, but okay.
My answer is no.
So you're currently 32.
I am.
Would you say that you're better looking now at 32 than you were at 22?
No.
So better looking at 22?
Yeah.
Okay. You answered the
Should we answer
question.
In 10 years, physically, you will be less attractive. And I know this because at 21, I probably would have given myself like an 8 or a 9, being like 125 pounds, all that stuff. And then now at 31 almost, definitely less attractive.
All right. So, and then at 40, I think you're
At
answering.
41, yeah, I'd probably,
Wait, are you,
like,
I think, did you say you were 30
so
years
I'm
old?
30, but my birthday's on Sunday. So
Oh,
I'm
you're about to
almost
turn,
31,
okay,
yeah.
I see. Okay.
But kind of like they were saying, you have more time to gain wisdom, and I don't mean it like just like, the thing sleeping around is what people say. That's not really what it's about. It's just like getting wisdom and more time to have more experiences and be smarter. So in that way, you do add value as a woman, but looks-wise, your looks decrease with age.
Okay. What about you?
Less attractive.
All right. What about you?
I think I'll be equally attractive. I think I'm in a peak mid-20s.
Well, so you're 20. So
Yes.
are you saying you'll be more attractive at 30 than you are now at 20?
No, I think I'll be like equally
Equally?
Yeah.
Okay. What about at 40?
less attractive.
Less
for sure.
attractive. Okay. You'll be equally attractive. All right. Interesting questions. Andrew, any quick thoughts?
Yeah, if you don't
on that?
mind if I follow up, do you think that you'll be more or less fertile in 10 years?
She likes that one. Starting with you.
More or less.
Starting with you. Go ahead.
Is
It's a good question, Andrew.
that not like statistically, like as you're younger, you're more
Yeah.
right? So
They were just asking you if you think that you'll be more or less fertile in 10 years.
at 29, probably less.
Okay.
I'll be less fertile.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably less. If I maybe
Okay.
take better care of myself, who knows? Like, I don't know.
Be equal.
Less.
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 Now, understanding that you'll be less fertile, from an evolutionary standpoint, why do you think that it is that men are attracted to younger women, if you had to guess?
Because they're more fertile, and so it would be evolutionary advantageous for them.
Because they're more fertile, so it would be
good framing.
evolutionarily advantageous. Would you all agree that that's true?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, if that is true, and that men are attracted to younger women because it would be evolutionarily advantageous to them because those women are more fertile, and so therefore, you could basically have more children, which is kind of the ultimate goal from an evolutionary standpoint, is to have more children. And now knowing this and knowing that your logic walked you to that, are you going to be more or less attractive in 10 years?
I think it was only 1 or 2 girls who said more. Who said
Yeah,
more
the two.
attractive in 10 years? I forgot.
There was 3.
Or 3?
I did.
It was you.
I said
Oh, you said more attractive, more attractive,
Yeah.
more attractive.
So now knowing that, do you still think that you'll be more attractive in 10 years?
I was just meaning it from like my personal. I wasn't really thinking about it from how someone else would perceive me. So
Well, that's strange. How do you come up with your assessment of how attractive you are if it's not through the eyes of other people?
I think I was mainly saying I wasn't thinking about it through the eyes of men. I was just
So
thinking
women,
about personally.
you think about how attractive you are through the eyes of women, but why do you think that women try to make themselves look younger?
I'm sorry. I'm confused how this relates particularly. I just meant that.
Well, because again, the point is to point out what could be potentially delusion, right? So to answer your question, there are plenty of women out there who think that they're going to be much better looking in 10 years than they are in whatever their current status is. Let's say 20 is just kind of like a general run-of-the-mill age. But yet understand that their fertility is going to greatly reduce in that 10 years, and that men would be attractive from an evolutionary standpoint, which is your guys' worldview, the feminist worldview anyway. I don't understand how you reconcile that, because you're basically saying that, hey, we're going to be less fertile, therefore aren't men going to be less attracted to you? Isn't that the point?
Well, I'm 19, so I think when I look at like other women that I find really beautiful, most of them tend to be in their like mid-20s. So if I'm mid to late 20s, so if I'm thinking
Well, in
about
10
it,
years, you're 29. You're going to
Yeah.
be less fertile than you are at 20, right?
I'm 19, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So then wouldn't it stand to reason that if fertility is the thing that's being selected for, which it stands to reason it would be, that you would be less attractive to the opposite sex the more time that goes by as far as fertility, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So do you think that maybe your self-assessments, for those of you who think that you're going to be more attractive in 10 years, might be slightly delusional? Or is this perhaps the reason that women do themselves up in such a way to try to look as young as possible to attract a mate?
As I was saying, I just picked that, like, that I would be more attractive because that's what, like, when I see attractive women, that tends to be the age they are, is like 25 to like 30 is like really attractive. But that's just
Okay.
me, so that's what I meant.
All right. Okay. We're going to segue briefly, and I hope briefly, because I said that about the bear thing. We talked about it for an hour and a half. All right. So the bullet scenario, because it's related to the bear scenario. Now, the best way of framing this question goes something like this. Should men be willing to sacrifice their life for their girlfriend or wife? Or in other words, should men, as a gender role, as a gender expectation, be willing to take a bullet for their girlfriend or wife? Starting with you.
No.
I would say probably not, but like we don't necessarily view that as a gender role necessarily. Like, I would take a bullet for my boyfriend too,
Okay.
and men being expected to be the protectors is a different story.
I would expect the same, like equally. Like I know I probably would if I truly love this person, and it's like equally. Like I don't think it's a gender role thing.
Wait, let me just pause really quick. Maybe Andrew, you can help me out a little bit with this. I know there has to be a better way for me to frame this question to kind of get at what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I would just ask it this way. Just really quickly, just yes or no around the table. Do you feel that you are honorable? Real quick, very quickly, around the table. Do you feel that you're an honorable person?
Yes.
Yes.
Next.
I think so. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Next.
Through God, yes.
Next.
Yes.
Next.
Not
Next.
really.
No, wait, not really honorable. Okay.
So to those of you who answered yes, you feel you're honorable people, do you expect the man you're with to defend your honor?
No, I guess.
No?
I don't think I've
So
ever.
wait, Andrew,
So if you're with
can we give them a
so if
scenario?
you're with your boyfriend and somebody insulted you in front of your boyfriend and insulted your honor, you have no expectation that he defend it?
Well, sure. Why not?
Okay, well then you do expect your significant other to defend your honor,
Not
right?
by a bullet, though.
Well, but hang on. We'll get to that entailment in a second.
Okay.
But let's just start with you do expect him to defend your honor, right?
Sure.
Okay. Next.
I don't think I've ever thought about defending my honor once in my life, but I would say like sure.
Wait, can I ask a question? Andrew, let me know if this fits within your scenario. Let's say you're out walking a party street here, think here locally, or like in a bar district. You're walking with your boyfriend, and a guy slaps your ass. Would you want your boyfriend to physically intervene?
Like fight the guy that did it.
Yeah. Is that a fair question?
Yeah, but I mean, the entailment's going to be the same both ways, but sure. Some random guy, he's basically SA'd you, right? Do you want him to just kind of stand by? Or do you want him to do something about it?
Oh, like would I expect my boyfriend to defend me if a man were to have like sexually harassed me?
Yeah.
I would say probably, yeah.
So then that's the entailment part, right? That I don't understand. If somebody assaults you or does something to you, you expect that, your boyfriend or husband or whatever will put him in his place. But somehow when it's a life-threatening situation, which every physical altercation could potentially be, the answer is no. And so to me, it always seems like the women are speaking out of both sides of their mouth on this and trying to give the answer they think that they want you to they're giving the answer that they think you want rather than the answer they really believe.
Should we get answers from the rest of the girls on this?
Sure.
Go ahead.
From my partner, I would probably expect that from my partner, yes.
Okay.
I think that people would defend each other regardless of gender. Females too.
Yeah, great. If you were married and a guy went by and smacked you on the rear end, would you expect that your husband did something about that?
I would be happy if he did.
Okay.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah, I would want him to defend me.
Yes.
Yes, I would.
Yeah. So then the thing is that you are most certainly all willing to put a man in harm's way to defend you.
But it doesn't have to be a man. It could be a woman too.
So when this idea comes up of, but if it's life-threatening, now I don't expect him to. It's really hard to believe,
I mean, from this specific example, I can speak. I feel like the thing is, like with the slapping ass thing, it's like I would expect him to, not because I'm like wanting to put him in harm's way, but it's like if that situation would have happened with me by myself, I would have been the one to like do something about it. So it's like if you're my boyfriend, if you're my man.
I mean, what would you be able to do about it?
I don't know. I'd check him
just
in
call
one
the
way or
cops?
another. No, not calling the cops, but like, I'm not just gonna like let it happen and
Yeah,
walk
I've
away.
had girlfriends tell guys off if guys are doing things.
Yeah, so it's just
Oh
not
yeah,
just
man,
men.
that taught him a lesson. So the thing is, it was like you're willing to put a man in harm's way every single time a man fights on your behalf. the potential exists for him to die, just so you understand that.
If I was with my boyfriend or husband and a girl grabbed him downstairs, I would defend him.
Yeah, it's very similar.
Well,
Yeah,
okay,
it goes
right.
both ways.
Yeah, I get it, but would he need you to?
Maybe.
Well, I
No,
think
but
that's
you should.
exactly your point.
Does he need you to step in on his honor, or could he actually do something about that himself? And the odds of him actually getting damaged in an altercation with a woman who grabs him by the junk, significantly less than the chance of you getting damaged in an altercation with a man who might do something which is sexually inappropriate to you, right? So the thing is that you do seem, all of you, to be willing to put your man in harm's way to defend your honor, because that's all that's being violated there, right? It's really just your honors being violated, and you want them to defend your honor, right?
Graal Zulu donated $200.
Yo,
Scenario,
Graals, thank you.
a car is coming at 120 miles per hour. Your man has only enough time to either jump out of the way and let you get hit, or push you out of the way and he gets hit.
This is a good
Which
way.
do you prefer?
Which do you prefer? Car's coming 120 miles per hour. Your man has only enough time to either jump out of the way and you let you get hit, or push you out of the way and he gets hit. Which do you prefer?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I'll get hit. That's
Oh,
fine.
all right.
Wait, just be clear.
Unless the car pats you on the rear end on the way across, and then
Sorry.
needs to get in there and beat the shit out of that car, right?
What? Wait, I'm
Go ahead.
confused. Okay.
Wait, this is if there's a car coming at the two of us, and it's either
So I think it's in line to hit you. Maybe he's standing off to the side.
Okay.
He's got a split second. He can I think he jumps out. He can push you out of the way, but he gets hit, or he takes
Or he
no
does
action.
nothing
He
and
takes
lets
no
me get-
action, and you get hit.
I think in the scenario where I got hit, let's say I let that happen, I don't think I would be mad and say, "Oh, you should have sacrificed yourself for me."
Okay.
So,
Sure.
not that I want to get hit by a car,
Right.
or like that
That's
he
fair.
somehow has the means to protect me in that situation, because he doesn't really. He could kill himself for me, but then I would just have survivor's guilt and be like, "Why did you do that?" You know.
Yeah, but the same exact logic could be applied for him defending your honor. If
I
somebody
don't think
and
about it in
you have
terms of
that, hang on,
honor. I
you
don't
have
walk
that
around-
same expectation. If some guy comes by and smacks you on the rear end, that he do something about that, he could definitely die in that situation. I mean, but and you'd still want
statistically,
him to
he
do
would
it
be.
though.
But statistically, he would be less likely to die. He's guaranteed to die if he gets hit by
Well,
a
what
car.
is the threshold for when it's okay to like? Is it appropriate to have 5%?
Well, it's actually
4%?
interesting that you say
There's
that,
also a
'cause-
statistical. It's also possible that he lives getting hit by the car. It's not even a sure thing he dies getting hit by the car, right?
At
Like-
120 miles an hour?
Like he probably will die. Compared
Maybe.
to maybe he gets in a scuffle with a guy, and sure, maybe the guy's a knife and he slits his throat.
Well,
or
I mean,
something.
more people die from hands and feet in the United States than they die from firearms. Hands and feet and physical altercation. I'm
Dangerous
sorry, from
feet.
rifle, right? From
Okay.
rifle.
Dangerous
Out of
feet.
nowhere, asses.
A lot of
Like,
dangerous
Yeah,
feet.
hands and feet from just rifles. I'm not kidding. You can look this up. Just hands and feet alone do more damage to people than rifles. More people die from just that than rifles per year. Men in a physical altercation with another man, yeah, they can die, and they die. They do die, fighting with other men with their fists. Men are very strong, much stronger than women often give them credit for. A well-placed blow, and yeah, he's dead. And you'd want him to do that to defend your honor, right?
I don't know. I think that these scenarios are too specific, and when you make this scenario more specific, people are more likely to answer illogically. And so in this situation, I don't have a boyfriend, so I can't imagine anyone pushing me out of the way to defend my honor or whatever. But I would say I wouldn't ask someone to do that for me necessarily.
Andrew, if you mind, I'll just jump in really
Go
quick.
ahead.
I have a few things. I do want to first go around the table on this. If you all give your answer to the car scenario.
I'll just die. I wouldn't expect that.
You wouldn't expect that. What about you?
I wouldn't expect it.
Which do you? Okay, you might not expect it. Which would you prefer?
I'm not sure.
In that case, I prefer that he doesn't sacrifice himself.
Yeah, I'm not really sure either on this one.
Okay, I can ask a different one, but go ahead.
I would prefer him to jump in front of the car with me because he loves me so much.
So you both. Okay, all right. What about you?
Romeo Juliet.
I would say the same thing as her, but I think a man of God
Okay.
would
Double suicide.
would push me out of the way.
Okay. Let me try to reframe it a little differently. I don't know if it's going to change the answers. If the Grim Reaper comes and says, should I take your life or your husband's, who do you choose?
My life.
Probably mine.
Mine.
It depends who's closer to being saved or who's going to help people.
Wait, what? Okay.
That's what I pick.
What, you closer to being saved by Jesus?
Does that not make sense?
You've both been saved.
You've both been
Both
saved.
of you. Both of you been saved, and you're
Well,
in holy matrimony from the church. The Holy Spirit was present. You were both when you tied the knot, right? It happened. You've both been saved.
Okay.
What's the
Wait,
answer to
Andrew, can I ask you a clarifying question? Is it saved by like a heresy church or like, does that change anything?
From my worldview, yes, but who cares? Doesn't
Okay,
matter
all right.
for the question.
Which did you pick?
I don't know.
Okay.
If we don't have kids, I can die. If we have kids, he has to die.
Interesting. Okay.
I mean, obviously, I'd want my own life, but I'd want him to choose his own life too. So it's hard to say.
All right.
Sticking with what I said before, take both of us.
Okay. I know how to reframe this again. Go ahead.
I would say to probably take my life.
Okay. So let us remove ourselves from the actual scenario, and I'm going to give you another scenario. Would you prefer to date a man who was willing to sacrifice his life for you versus dating a guy who was unwilling in all scenarios to ever sacrifice his life for you? Would you think, for example, that one is less masculine?
Was that the end of the question?
Well, would you think? I kind of was a bit of a. Is he done yet? Okay, you could think like, okay, one, which would you prefer to date, and then also, I mean, you might have some analysis there of the actual person in question. For example, if he was unwilling to sacrifice his life for you to make the ultimate protection move, the ultimate sacrifice of dying for you, would you deem that as like less masculine? Maybe he's a beta male. That sort of thing.
I would say that I'd be like more willing to date someone who is willing to sacrifice
Okay.
themselves, but mainly because if I'm dating someone, it's probably because I love them and I would do the same for them. So I think it's more
Okay.
of like equality
Sure.
on that. So
What about you? Would you deem it less attractive or less masculine if a guy was unwilling to do that for you?
I think that it's funny that you have to reframe the question this many times because I think that we've all been pretty consistent in our position. I would say that it depends on his motive for why he would be willing to sacrifice himself. If it's for the purpose of defending my honor, I don't really want anyone to defend my honor, but
Just the Grim Reaper scenario.
Oh, okay, sure.
You guys can decide together, I guess, on who.
Like we look at each other and we're like, who's going?
Yeah.
And he's like, me, I will die for
Right.
us.
I feel like there's better framing on this question. But
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
This all really stems from a previous show. We were having a conversation. Well, actually, before I get into that, just going around the table, if you can give quick answers to this reframe.
I mean, I don't get it though. There is no need to reframe. You flip-flop multiple times. If you're willing to put your man in harm's way just to defend you because you feel like you were slighted by another man, then clearly your priority is you and not him when it comes to a situation like that. How could it be anything different than that? Some guy came by and open palm smacks you on the rear and you're demanding or think that he should step in and defend your honor, you're definitely putting him in harm's way at his expense and not at your expense. So I don't understand why, when we logically extend that out, why that wouldn't be the case.
Because if I swung at a man, I'm probably not gonna win. So if they did that and I go in for a swing, I probably wouldn't win that situation. So
yeah, right. So he should put himself in harm's way.
He doesn't have
right?
to.
This would be the same thing too, even in the bullet scenario. Which one would you prefer take a bullet? A man has a much larger body mass and can probably survive being shot better than a woman could too. So I mean, if that's the extension, then you would have to extend it out to everything, right?
What is this, Bridgerton? We living in the we dueling out here? I'm kidding. No, but I'm just saying, I don't know. I can't.
Here, let's get the girls' answers. I guess on was it the grim?
The grim.
No. We already did that.
If he
would you deem a man less date worthy or less attractive if he was unwilling to die for you?
No.
No.
Well, your question was different. You asked, would you rather date the guy who would or wouldn't? I would date the guy who rather would.
Okay.
It's fine.
I wouldn't say it's less masculine, but I wouldn't date them.
Okay, I see. Well, I guess kind of what we're getting towards with this is that, hold on, let me just add this really quick to my notes, is there does seem to be some degree of a gender expectation on men to protect, and the ultimate manifestation of protection would be, in some sort of scenario, to sacrifice one's life for their partner. And this typically will typically be the man sacrificing his life for the woman. There are perhaps not so much at this table, but there are plenty of women, perhaps they lean a bit more conservative, who would have a strong preference to date a man who would be willing to protect her at the cost of his life. And so, and this all stems from, I don't know exactly how it came about, but a couple shows back I said, yeah, I wouldn't be willing to die for a woman. And they all objected to that, and they'd say it was, you're less masculine, you're not as date worthy, blah blah blah, and I gave quite a bit of pushback. I would not be willing to sacrifice my life for a woman, and or the woman I was dating rather, even my wife, and even if we had children. I know a couple of you seem to indicate that, well, if you had children, you'd prefer the man died versus the woman, but I would just make the argument to that. I think it was you. I would just make the argument to that one that, well, it seems like the outcomes for children raised by single fathers versus single mothers does seem to be a bit better, comparatively speaking, statistically speaking. And also, I would argue that assuming the man is the breadwinner in this situation and the woman isn't, the man would be better, have more capacity and be more capable of, that was just kind of redundant, but okay, would be more capable of providing and protecting for the children. So in any scenario, whether you're single, don't have kids, or even if you do have kids, I think it would be better for the man to survive. Andrew does disagree with me on that one. He has a more traditional worldview than I do. I will say, Andrew, I want to talk about chess really quick. Dear Andrew, in chess, you lose if you sacrifice the king to save the queen. Checkmate, Andrew.
Well, you can't. The thing that's funny is in chess, you can't actually take the king off the board. You can only ever take the queen off the board. Just letting you know, right? You can only ever checkmate the king. You can't actually take him off the board.
This is true.
Yeah.
It's true. But that's what I'm saying. You can't sacrifice the king.
Who's arguably on the chessboard the most important piece, Brian? Which piece is the most important one?
Andrew, don't do this to me.
Which one's the most important one, Brian? Which one?
Which one's the most powerful?
The queen.
The queen. The queen's the most important piece on the board. Yep.
Damn it, Andrew! Why you got to do this to me?
Why you
got to do this to me, Andrew? But I will say, for example, in this scenario, there's a move. It's called a queen sacrifice. So you'll sacrifice. The player will voluntarily let the opponent capture their queen, and to gain some sort of advantage, either material or gaining a better position, or even a checkmate. So I think that the woman should sacrifice their life. I think the woman should sacrifice their life.
Do you have a girlfriend?
Well, that is true. You do sacrifice the queen on behalf of the king in chess if you want to win sometimes.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah. So also, do you guys think it would be like it's more beta, like beta male? I don't like the alpha beta thing, but do you think it's more beta if the guy's like not willing to like fight for his chick?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But check this out. Yeah, just going around the table, more or less beta.
Literally no comment.
No comment.
Like the funniest.
What you?
Okay.
Come on. This would you would be like? What are you, a little bitch? I'm not gonna.
What?
Right? Wouldn't that be your thinking?
No.
This little bitch doesn't want to. Here, okay. Let me give you a different scenario that's not as extreme as life or death. Here's the scenario. Okay, you're dating a dude, and then, and then like some dude starts talking smack to you, and he's like, "Babe, he seems really unhinged. We gotta let's leave."
Someone's like legitimately unhinged or just like not like actually insane?
Did they
God, I'm
speak
so
to
terrible
us
at
just
You know what I
like
mean?
that?
Because
Like,
if
Scenarios.
someone's like legitimately unhinged, we both gotta go. So,
All right,
like,
okay.
I don't want to be there.
I just
Fair.
want to point out one thing, right? You know, I've heard from the chat. The chat thinks it's beta male. Some women think it's beta male. I would argue it's fucking sigma alpha to let the woman die, because here's why, ladies. Here's why. Think of like Genghis Khan, right? This guy had like concubines and mistresses and like multiple wives. He had like, I don't know if it was dozens or hundreds of wives. This guy had the largest contiguous land empire, the Mongol Empire. The largest contiguous. Some people are like, there's bigger. Contiguous has a meaning, guys. Biggest empire in the world. Multiple wives. Hundreds of children. You think he would sacrifice his life for one of his measly wives? That was not my view, his view. He probably didn't care much. No, he did care.